Hello, great people. Candidate of the Republican Party, Donald Trump, is returning as the president of the United States, having defeated the candidate of the Democratic Party with over 4 million votes in the popular vote. And for the Electoral College, Donald Trump had a massive 301 votes, while Kamala Harris had just 226 votes. Now, make I discuss how this election take concern us. You understand? I am a Nigerian, and I'm sure that you watching me, you are most likely a Nigerian or an African. So, what is the implication of the Trump win for Nigeria and by extension Africa? In this video, I'll be telling you that, and now I'll also be telling you like Trump's perspective about African, the expectation of African leaders, and also ordinary Nigerians or ordinary Africans, what they should expect during the reign of Donald Trump. Now, let's dive into this analysis, people. You see that Trump, as a person, has a policy, which is an ours is ours policy. There are two kinds of policies that in the realm of international relations, to put it like mildly, so that I don't use a lot of political jargons. We either call it ours is ours policy or ours is yours policy. Now, Donald Trump operates an ours is ours policy. That means that we, the United States, our money is our money. Ours is ours. Our job is our job. Our country is our country. That is what Donald Trump believes in. And people have believed that Donald Trump is on African largely. And I think Donald Trump is just not only on African in the true sense of it. Donald Trump is against migration in general, right? Because he believes that, look at the border with Mexico. You remember the wall that he was building before he lost that election. You know, that is not on the African soil. So Donald Trump largely operates an ours is ours policy. But let's go to Canada. Canada operates an ours is yours policy. For instance, if you go to Canada, you have opportunity to work and do a whole lot of things, and the government will give you the opportunity. Now, US always gives opportunity, not until the emergence of Donald Trump. And now that he's back, you would expect that he's going to kind of like upturn the policies of the incumbent president, Joe Biden. Why? The reason is not far-fetched. When Joe Biden came into office, he tried his best to upturn most of the policies of Donald Trump. And don't forget that Trump was arraigned in court. He was arraigned, couple of times in court. So you should expect that even if Trump doesn't, even if he does not arraign Joe Biden, or maybe he doesn't find any infraction against Joe Biden, you can be rest assured that he's going to upturn most of his policy. Now, Joe Biden believes in ours is yours. Joe Biden has appointed a lot of African people. He has related well with Africa. But now that Trump is coming, it's going to be an ours is ours policy. So if you are thinking of getting anything from the United States, I can advise you as your fellow African that Ray, so fast, go collect that thing. Make it happen before Trump comes in, because if Trump comes in, a lot of things are going to change. Now, let me come back home to the government of Bola Tinubu. When Gambrian, that Binance executive, when the government of Bola Tinubu freed him based on the intervention of the US government, follow me, I'm going somewhere. The government of Bola Tinubu spoke with Joe Biden, that Joe Biden called Bola Tinubu to thank him. Now, Bola Tinubu, president of Nigeria, was asking for collaboration with US on AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, that's good, that's fair. And then he now said that US should support Nigeria to have a seat in UN. Now, there's something called law of reciprocity, equal measure. You quash the case of 34 million US dollars in a poor economy. against that Binance executive. He was accused of currency speculation, tax evasion, and a whole lot more. Now, you freed the guy. You are not asking for seats in the UN. Are you not supposed to ask for forgiveness for Allen Onyama, the CEO of Airpeace, if there's still any pending case against him, that the case should be caught, or you ask for forgiveness for somebody like Hush Puppy, which is like a similar case of, okay, they both committed financial infractions. But now that you didn't use that opportunity to get something that is of equal measure, Donald Trump has won the election, and trust me, Trump, based on his perception, is being an African, cannot support Nigeria to have a seat at the UN. That is it. So that means that if you are forfeited over 40 million US dollars, that means that you will not get anything out of it. So when I said it, that what Nigerian government is asking for is not something of equal measure. Some people were running their mouth. Now you can see, right? Is it not the equal measure that Bola Tinubu government was supposed to ask for? He's asking for a seat at the UN. Is it Trump now? Even if Biden had committed himself, is it Trump that will support Nigeria? Then we know that during his first term, it took a lot of policies that were against Nigeria. You will recall that during Trump's first term, a travel ban was imposed on Nigeria because Nigerian government failed to share enough information with the security agencies of US. What is the security information? They want to know everybody that collects passport in Nigeria. If you have a Nigerian passport, your information is with US government. If your passport is lost, is missing, and you renewed it, why is it missing? All those information is now with US government, allegedly. So you can imagine that Trump, the way he is, right, he doesn't care what happens. He's going to take his decision based on the principle of ours is ours. And the principle that mostly favors Nigerians and Africans is that ours is yours, because Nigerians go to these countries to see greener pastures. And the problem now, it just be like double wahala, to use the word of Fela Nicola Kokuti, because there will be less migration to the US. You can expect that US will issue less visa. There will be less opportunity for Nigerians and Africans in US. And to now worsen the case, Canada also wants to reduce migration in 2025 by 25%. So if you don't go to US, you can decide that you want to go to Canada, right? But now Canada itself is also reducing its migration by 25%. So that means that if 100 people usually get Canadian visa before, it will be reduced to 75. Now, the Canadian visa approval reduction at a time when Trump is the president, you can see that that is a serious issue for Nigeria and Africans. Now, there's one thing that crossed my mind when Trump was declared the winner of that election, and that is the case of our sister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. You will recall that during the first time of Trump, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was vying for the position to be the head of WTO, World Trade Organization. The Trump administration was against the candidacy of Okonjo-Iweala. But that was when the election was held, and Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden emerged as the winner. When Joe Biden got there, he went against the policy of Trump. You know, I said that he overturned a lot of Trump policies, and Joe Biden administration decide to back Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. That was how Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala managed to become the head of WTO. Now, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala will want a second term as the head of WTO. Trump is back there now again as president. And now that Trump is back, will Trump's earlier position, will it change? His earlier position of not supporting Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, how will we know whether it will change or not? Let us look at the personality of Trump. As his personality change, the answer is no. His view about Africans and Nigerians, has it changed? The answer is no. His view about migration, has it changed? The answer is no. So where the problem is that Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, we have a tough time to return as the head of WTO. It will cost her a lot of effort and hard work. The only thing that can work for her is that Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is an incumbent, right? So that means that she has already been tested. People know her performance in that particular organization. So the people that will vote, if Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has a good relationship with them, if she is a performing leader, then those people perhaps can try to convince the US president, the American citizens among them, can try to convince the likes of Donald Trump and his allies that, oh, Ngozi is not a bad lady after all, and she has performed. Maybe if those ones prevails on Trump, maybe Trump can now consider, or if Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is able to get so many people to fight a battle, to insist on her candidacy, but then that will only depend on her performance. And don't forget that her performance will largely be rated on how the West has been able to parasite Africa. You understand? You know, there is unequal trade terms. If you look at the global stage, the Western nations, the America, the Canada, the France, the UK, the Germany, the Schengen countries are the core. We call them the core. While the third world or the developing nations, we call them the peripheral nations. Now, our performance will largely be rated by this Western power bloc that will return her as the head of WTO, first based on how those Western countries, known for their parasite nature over Africa, they will want to assess her based on how our policy have been able to put them in a position to continue to parasite Africa. So you can imagine that difficult days lies ahead for Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Now, another thing is that Trump will review those being considered for citizenship, not just visa. You know, the US usually receive a lot of application that people that are being that applying to be citizens. The problem is that majority of those applications will now be denied, because if it is a government policy that we don't want much people that are not born in America to now become American, definitely there's nothing the American immigration can do about it. It is a government policy. The American immigration is established to drive the policy of the American government. So you can see that difficult days, difficult time, difficult period lies ahead for Nigeria and Africa. And the African countries that have been benefiting from aid, loans, you know, different kind of benefit from America, this is the time for those African countries to sit tight, because sincerely it's going to be a very difficult moment. And you know that Russia, who is, you know, the soft enemy, if I can use that word, of America, does not have enough to spend like America. You know, there's a different thing that you having money and you being able to spend, right? America has the money and always willing to spend it. Look at the how the American government has been funding Israel. Imagine how the American government has been assisting Ukraine. So there's one thing to have money and you being willing to spend the money. American government is good at that. But Trump doesn't want to spend money. Trump likes to save money. Now, Russia cannot spend like America. So that means that Russia is not even a good alternative, right? So it's going to be a very tough time for African countries, and Nigeria, being the capital of the black race, is going to suffer it most. So I just hope that the Tinubu government can kind of like find a middle ground with the Trump administration. But if the government of Bola Tinubu just release Gambrayan without getting that $34 million from him and, didn't get something of equal measure, trust me, Nigeria is not going to get anything again if Donald Trump eventually gets sworn in. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politin with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science, and this is where we analyze politics and happenings in the polity. Do well to subscribe, do well to turn on your notification button, do well to catch up with my past videos, and of course, I have great videos coming your way. Till I see you again, you already know that I love you all sincerely.